London just had its most violent year in a decade. So here are the total numbers for Sadiq Khan's 2018 London Stabathon. I know this year started off pretty doom and gloom, but I think we have to talk about these things. Yesterday I talked about the first terror attack of the year that happened in the UK. That happened just a couple of hours before clock struck midnight on New Year's Eve. And today I want to talk about the absolute nightmarish chaos that London's been plunged into under Sadiq Khan's turn as mayor. It seemed like in 2018 there were stabbings and attacks pretty much every day. It felt very, very regular. And of course there were many deaths as well. And now we have the final tally of the victims who've died in this violence crime wave that's happened in London in 2018. This number, by the way, doesn't include the amount of people that have been injured, which is significantly higher. But we now know that a total of 132 people were victims of homicides in London in 2018, which surpassed last year's numbers, 2017's numbers, in November. So this is a slow and steady increase. It's not a huge, immediate, rapid rise, but it's quite slow and steady. And it's only going to get worse given that the police are not being given the resources that they need to actually police the city, which is, well, the government's fault. But it's also Sadiq Khan's fault because he refuses to tackle the social cohesion problems. He's also not very good at allocating the funding that they do have, which is a problem, and Sadiq Khan's fault. Many of these deaths have been caused by stabbings too. It seems to be the trendy thing for gang members in London these days. The stabbings in our capital city increased by 16% last year. Remember, we had the sort of the phase of acid attacks, which certainly hasn't gone away, but really the weapon of choice in London for these young gang members and anyone else who wants to go out and kill people seems to be knives. And some of the footage that I've seen throughout 2018 has been really disturbing. I'll never forget one I saw. There's a little boy, let's say little boy, probably a young teenager, outside of a shop in London. And somebody just runs past him wearing a hoodie, and they stop, they look at the young boy, and you can see them making that instant quick decision, I'm going to stab this young boy. And so he just goes ahead and stabs him and then runs away, and the young boy collapses into the shop and dies. It was totally senseless. The boy died, and this seems to be happening every day. And when you see this footage, I mean, it's really quite hard to comprehend what's really happening. Now, imagine your family being in London. Imagine being a family in London. Imagine your kids being out on the street walking to school or walking to a youth club, if such a thing exists in London. They're all out stabbing. It must be terrifying, and Sadiq Khan really has to take some responsibility for this. Now, I think social cohesion is a must. It's necessary, and communities are being encouraged to segregate through a policy of multiculturalism. Londoners with concerns are then being called racists, and if you dare point out that a great number of these victims, not just perpetrators, but victims of these stabbings are young black men, well, that's racist too. Why can't we be honest about all this? And why can't we get tough and tackle the problem at its source? Why can't we use stop and search as a way of stopping this problem? Because we have to take race out of it, and we must give people something to live for. Only then will we get the cohesion we need, and only then will people stop senselessly killing each other. But it looks like 2019 is already off to a pretty nasty start. The London 2018 violent crime wave has taken a total of 132 lives in a year, and 2019 is already off to a flying start. On New Year's Eve, a man was stabbed to death at a party in Park Lane in Westminster. He was a bouncer doing security at a New Year's Eve party who came to the UK looking for a better life. How tragic is that? And in the early hours of New Year's Day, a woman was stabbed in Camberwell. She was in her early 30s and she died just half an hour after the attack. I pray that 2019 won't be as terrible a year in London, but I really don't think Mayor Sadiq Khan cares what's happening. I'm expecting yet another year of political correctness taking priority over the lives and the quality of life of the people of London. Sadiq Khan doesn't care that his own people are being stabbed and killed. We're not funded by the government, we don't have big sponsors, and we certainly don't have massive donors. If you'd like to help support our work, please go to rebeldonations.com/thebuck.